Now to Zikona Ndlebe, Advocacy Officer for the organization Judges Matter. Zikona, thank you so much for your time. So, was today just a formality? Because this, in fact, is the third time she's been interviewed. We saw her most recently when she was vying for the Chief Justice position. She's the only candidate for Deputy Chief Justice. She's already been endorsed by the President. It's a great reminder of how strong-minded and intelligent she is. But did we need to see these interviews? Why were they important today?
It was not merely a formality. Obviously, the Constitution requires that the President consults the JSC and political parties that are represented in the National Assembly before he appoints a Deputy Chief Justice. But these interviews are very important. Although Justice Mandisa Maya was the sole candidate for the Deputy Chief Justice position, she still had to undergo the process. And this is because this process, it's necessary because it's a chance for the commissioners to ask questions, put questions to President Maya and find out or get information from her that they need in order to decide whether she is suitable for the position of DCJ. And that is what we saw happening today. And one of the things that came out strongly, which did not come out in February and the previous interviews, was the issue of language usage when writing judgments. It did come out a bit in February, but this time around, it came out very strongly. And that is something that perhaps was needed in order for the issue of language and the language writing, the different languages that we have, writing judgments in the different languages. Maybe it's something that needed to come out in these interviews, in this process, in order for it to get the attention that it needs. And that's not the only issue that came to the fore. Also, the administrative issues that we witnessed with the Office of the Chief Justice, that's something else that came out very strongly during these interviews. So I would not say that it was just a matter of a formality, although it's a requirement in terms of the Constitution, but it is so that the necessary issues come to the fore in interviews before a person is endorsed for permanent appointment in the position.
Do you think that she's going to be a real force for change and transformation? I mean, she's spoken out strongly about women, that women are not appointed to those top positions as often as they should be, despite what she calls our fancy laws, that also more black people in the judiciary is an important issue. But she makes the point as well that doesn't mean to the exclusion of white people. So she understands exactly her job. But also you mentioned that she wrote the first isiXhosa judgment. So do you see the role of a Deputy Chief Justice as having quite a sort of transformative role, or is she more of an administrator?
It's an all-rounder kind of a role. It's similar to that of a Chief Justice. She's not going to be just an administrator or a judicial officer hearing cases. It's going to be basically supporting the Chief Justice in his role. But to answer your question, whether she will perhaps be a game changer in the issue of transformation, I definitely think that she will bring about some change in the judiciary. As we've seen with the Supreme Court of Appeal, she has brought a lot of change. Out of the 23 justices in the SCA, 11 are women judges, and that is something that has never happened before. And it happened when she took the leadership position. And if you look at the Constitutional Court, there are currently no white justices at the Constitutional Court. And as she mentioned, when we talk about transformation, it is not to exclude certain races, but it is to ensure that there is diversity. And perhaps if she is appointed to the Constitutional Court, although she is not responsible for appointing judges, but there will definitely be change and there should be some sort of diversity. And speaking about diversity, we currently have 44% of women judges in our superior courts. And that's that is better than, it's a position better than we were previously in the previous years. But the problem is that we don't have enough women in leadership positions in our judiciary. And she mentioned this. Judge President Monica Liu is a judge president, and she will soon retire in 2 months' time. And President Maya will perhaps go to the Constitutional Court, and there will be a vacancy at the SCA. And we would like to see that a woman judge will take over from President Mandisa Maya. So we are hoping to see transformation and diversity.
Let's talk about some of the sort of administrative and other tricky issues. We know that the Office of the Chief Justice is dealing with a bit of a scandal at the moment, and this is this 225 million rand IT tender to manage the caseloads. And we know that the efficient running of our courts is absolutely crucial for justice. But it's now turned out that 3 members of staff helped organise that deal, then resigned and joined the company. It also seems that it wasn't properly signed off. So there are lots of questions. Is that the sort of thing that she's going to have to hit the ground running on when she walks into the office?
As a supporter to the Chief Justice, she's going to have to play a very paramount role in ensuring that there is transparency and that the Office of the Chief Justice is also led accordingly. And some of the duties might actually be delegated to her by the Chief Justice, who is currently busy with the state capture report and might actually be busy with other cases relating to the State Capture Commission. So we might see a lot of delegation of duties of the Chief Justice to President Mandi-Samaya when or if she's appointed by the President. And it's quite a huge concern. So these are issues, the administrative issues of the Office of the Chief Justice. These are things that came out of the interview. For example, when it comes to court equipment and administration, there are various issues that exist. Justice Mandi-Samaya mentioned 2. There are no telephone lines and there is no Wi-Fi, no internet access in the courts. This speaks to the issue of access to justice, and it's problematic. And it's something that the Office of the Chief Justice has to deal with. And we're hoping that with the support of a person like Justice or President Mandi-Samaya, these are issues that will be resolved.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you've explained so well, she's got very important goals in terms of transformation and changing the judiciary, but also really basic stuff like, as you say, internet and phone lines. And that too can get in the way of justice. Thank you so much. Really great chatting to you this evening. That is Zikhona Ndlebe. She's Advocacy Officer for the organisation Judges Matter.